to mundo fine, night train to the end. Running hard and running fast to meet my future and away from my past. Taking the gamble that cannot last. Night train to the end.
Hi everyone, this is the Frater SH Night Show, and I am your host, Frater SH. Today we have, and I can tell you, every day I don't know what kind of a story where I'm gonna find for you guys. This one is called "Why People Dream of Apocalypse" from Psychology Today. Now this is something interesting. And everyone's had a dream. I remember I had a dream once about, that, basically, that Maine had become flooded with glaciers and ice, and everything was a mess, and, so, okay. Okay, so the key points are we are innately primed to dream of disasters, dangers, and worst case scenarios. Apocalyptic dreams extend the individual to envision disaster for the whole world. Let me just double check here. Okay, just checking my levels here. Dreams of disaster also enhance our mental alertness and creative capacities to respond to collective dangers. Before we begin, I'll say that my website is lulu.com/spotlight/fratersh, and when you type that in, no capitals, no spaces. I have a great deal of books. I have books on spirituality and books on theories and lots and lots of things. And then if you type in Sadragrad into just Google, just type that in, and it's like it has all the links to all the various things I've done over the years. From different video sites for different videos, and it's all there. Are more people today dreaming about the end of the world? Should they be? These two questions emerged from numerous conversations with family and friends during recent holidays. Although coming from many different perspectives, several people expressed an equally urgent fear about the imminent threat of collective disaster. Apocalyptic anxieties are in the air right now, at least in waking life. What about in dreams? Researchers currently do not have baseline information for how often or ordinary dreams include the specific topic of apocalypse. We do, however, have indirect information about numerous sources suggesting that apocalyptic dreams are a widespread phenomenon. Historically and cross-culturally, empirical studies have made it clear that dreaming is a never-ending parade of disaster and destruction and a relentless generator of worst-case scenarios and a vividly immersive theater of apocalyptic anxiety. We are innately primed to dream of things falling apart or misfortunes, disasters, being late, getting lost, falling, collapsing, getting hurt or sick, becoming paralyzed and dying, according to studies using various systems of content analysis. A huge portion of ordinary human dreaming in all places and times involves themes of drastic danger to the dreamer. Viewed in this context, apocalyptic dreams can be conceived as the most extreme version of falling dreams. They are dreams in which catastrophic disasters and misfortunes afflict not just the individual dreamer, but the whole world. All of society tumbles over a cliff and plunges helplessly downward. An entire civilization falls apart. A whole culture becomes sick and collapses. These are the worst case scenarios, going far beyond the personal sphere to include everyone and everything as a feature of an ordinary dream content. The theme of apocalypse is probably rare, but it remains a latent potentiality of human dreaming, ready to be activated if waking life circumstances become sufficiently dire to call it forth. Apocalypse as archetype. We today are not the first to fear the imminent end of all things. Humans have been anticipating apocalypse for thousands of years, both in waking and in dreaming. We are instinctively prepared to perceive the gathering of conditions that could lead to the destruction of our collective reality. And yet, because the archetype of apocalypse can be so quickly triggered, it can also be manipulated. By radically devaluing the future, apocalyptic fears can justify behaviors in present and people who never otherwise accept. Visions of apocalypse can become resentful fantasies of vengeance against those whose power over us seems impossible to escape. Only by violently destroying them and their hold over present reality can a better world emerge. This is the archetypal formula behind countless movies, TV shows, video games, and songs that permeate pop culture, like stories grounded in the hero myth, in which the individual goes on an epic adventure and returns home bearing treasures to share with the community. Stories animate the archetype of apocalypse, focus primarily on the explosive destruction of community itself, and only secondarily the individual's resulting exile or liberation. Feelings of apocalyptic doom can also be manipulated in the opposite direction towards passivity and quietism, with no hope for the future. It seems there is no reason to try to change anything, no reason to participate in traditional institutions of governance and social cohesion, no reason to devote time and energy to long-term projects. Ironically, this kind of apocalyptic withdrawal only benefits the people who currently enjoy the greatest privileges of present reality by voluntarily removing a potential threat to their power. Don't give up, turn within. Perhaps the more pressing question is, should people be dreaming about an apocalypse? Current conditions seem to justify extreme alarm about our collective prospects: climate change, failing political systems, economic inequity, racial strife, sinister surveillance technologies. All these threats are becoming worse by the day and are already causing enormous harm and suffering to humans and other species. Environmental science, going back to Alexander von Humboldt's 19th century vision of geonosis, has given us a new awareness of the interconnectedness of everything on our planet, and a new awareness of fragility of all earthly forms of life, our own included. This expanded awareness presents an important new chapter in history of human consciousness, even though it brings a great deal of fear and uncertainty to many of us. Feel an acute sense of loss regarding this species and ecosystems and ways of life that have been destroyed or gone extinct. It's tempting to yield to righteous anger or helpless resignation, even if neither of those paths will truly help with the problems we face. An alternative path is to mourn these losses by devoting ourselves to deeper self-reflection and critical scrutiny of our inner psychological resources, beyond the limits of our egos, beyond the limits of our conscious rational selves, followed by a spirit of honesty and openness. This path leads to the realization that you are more than your ego, and an alternative path is to mourn these losses by devoting ourselves to deeper self-reflection and critical scrutiny of our inner psychological resources beyond the limits of our egos, beyond the limits of our conscious and rational selves. If followed with a spirit of honesty and openness, this path leads to realization that you are more than your ego, and that your whole self encompasses more than you consciously think and do, and that your all alienation from this more is itself a source of suffering and a contribution of apocalyptic despair. If we have nothing but our ego selves to help us, solve our problems. We are truly doomed. We need help. Fortunately, we have powerful natural resources for help in our dreams, which emerge from the ancient wisdom and unconscious mind. As much as dreams dwell in frightening dangers of destruction, they also enhance our mental alertness and adaptive capabilities. When responding to new threats in the waking world, dreams are endlessly creative and innovative and provide new perspective on our biggest concerns in daily life. If you turn within and follow the tracks of your dreams for long enough, you will develop powers of intuitive insight and creative flexibility that can enhance the effectiveness of where actions you take in the waking world by drawing deep strength within you and creative dynamic contributor to collective powers of peace, wisdom, health, justice, and prosperity for all. So to add to this article, and really this is the first episode where I'll actually quote from the Bible. And again, I can supplement articles if I feel like there's something more to add to this. In Sirach 34, there is a section on dreams. I think it's like 1 through 9 or something. I'll just read the whole chapter, but no, I'll just roughing out. Let's see, it's 1 through 7. That's it. A man of no understanding has. I'm reading now the Revised Standard Version that has an apocrypha in it. I usually don't really use the Revised Standard Version because I prefer the Textus Receptus. Usually out of anything J.P. Green makes. A man of no understanding has vain and false hopes, and dreams give wings to fools. As one who catches at a shadow and pursues the wind, so is he who gives heed to dreams. The vision of dreams is this against that, the likeness of a face confronting a face, from an unclean thing that will be made clean. And that's the thing, is from an unclean thing that will be made clean. And this is the kind of thing with a lot of our holidays. A lot of our holidays were originally pagan holidays. So, like for example, Christmas, there's no proof Jesus was born at Christmas. It was basically a holiday that goes back. I mean, it's changed when it comes to it. It actually has changed a considerable deal. But it originally came from pagan origins, and the Christian church kind of stuck with it. They kind of, probably because a lot of people were going off to the Saturnalia and going off to these holidays, so the churches started to open up on that day just to try to get people to go to church instead of going out drinking. Believe it or not, Christmas has more to do with being like a holiday like St. Patrick's Day, with bar hopping and people would riot in the streets and break into rich people's houses, wanting to party, and it was a mess. But this verse reminded me of all that. From an unclean thing that will be made clean, and from something false that will be true. Divinations and omens and dreams are folly, and like a woman with labor pains, the mind has fancies. Unless they are sent from the Most High as a visitation, do not give your mind to them. For dreams have deceived many, and those who have put their hope in them have failed. Without such deceptions, the law will be fulfilled, and wisdom is made perfect in truthful lips. An educated man knows many things, and one with much experience will speak with understanding. That he that is an inexperienced knows a few things, and he that has traveled acquires such cleverness. I have seen many things in my travel, and I have understood more than I can express, and I have often been in danger of death, but haven't escaped because of these experiences. So that is on dreams. Normally, I usually end, the show like after one story. Usually, it goes long enough for 20 minutes, but I decided for the show I'll do one more story, and end it. This is a short one, but it's interesting. It's from the Daily Record. It's a couple shock after stamping pic of 3 UFOs over Lanarkshire town centre. Alan Watts and Lane Richardson of England were visiting family when they made a discovery on a camera phone. A couple visiting Hamilton claimed to have captured 3 UFOs on camera hovering over Hamilton Town Centre this week. Alan Watts and Elaine Richardson of Haworth, West Yorkshire, had been staying at the Premier Inn Hotel on Townshead Street for 4 days after visiting family in Motherwell. When Elaine spotted how lovely the weather was on Tuesday, she decided to snap a quick pic of the skyline on her new camera phone. But later on, when looking through her photos, she noticed a dot in the far distance on one of her shots, something she hadn't spotted at one time taking in the photo. When her partner, Alan, encouraged her to zoom in on the photo, Elaine was gobsmacked to discover not one but 3 unidentified flying objects high in the sky above Hamilton. Alan explained this photo has been taken from the window of her hotel at the Premier Inn Hamilton, looking over the town center. And again, being this is a podcast, you really can't, you're not seeing the pictures I'm seeing, but the UFOs actually look pretty, pretty decent. Like I was expecting when she mentioned dots or something, but they actually do look like flying saucers. They're not like Billy Meyer type pictures, but I mean they're pretty cool. And I still have a tendency to believe they're spirit bodies. I believe that like fallen angels or even angels, even. You never know. But let's see. It was a lovely day for December, so Elaine simply took a photograph of the beautiful blue sky. When she looked back through the photo, she saw that what looked like a white dot, so she zoomed in to see what it could be, as it had been such a bright, clear blue sky. That's when we discovered what looks like 3 UFOs. We don't have any explanation at all. Last year, we reported how Lancashire had been a hotspot for UFO sightings, according to the group of researchers who recorded 9 within 12 months. One of these is in Hamilton, and the country had almost double the average extraterrestrial sighting per population in the UK in 2020. In Lancashire, there were 3.4 UFO sightings for every 250,000 people, compared to the UK average of 1.8 sightings per 250,000 and an average of 1.5 in Scotland. And that is pretty much it for today. And again, there's a show every day, and when I can't record one, I have a whole folder full of reruns from past years. So I'll see you next time.